Hello, this is Partial Hangout here, back with a brand new video. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the brand new indie game hit, Metroidvania Hollow Knight Silksong. Now, I was a huge fan of the first game. I played it a lot, and I really enjoyed it. But I can't say the same for the second game, unfortunately. Despite the massive hype and success that this game garnered, I just didn't end up liking the game. But we're going to get into that in this video. It's basically going to be a review and just giving my thoughts on the game. No spoilers. And yeah, just going to go over the art, story, and then end off on the gameplay. And the gameplay is where I have my main issues with this game. So going into art direction, I think it's great. Phenomenal. Especially like everything just looks like it has more depth to it. More details. The coloring looks better than the first game. And the lighting too, like depending on where you go, the lighting can look like extremely well done. Like overall, this game just looks quite a bit better than the first game, I will definitely say. Sound design and music are also up there too. The sound design just feels super crisp. Everything sounds like it has weight to it, you know? And you really feel like you're like there. Music is great too, of course. I really like the main menu theme. And there's just some boss themes that are really good too. And overall, it's just the music is super solid for this game too. The art direction is just fantastic for this game. There's not much to complain about at all, for sure. I think my only nitpick would probably be that I wish there was a bit more of a visual distinction between this game and the first game. Like some type of you're still keeping the identity of the first game with the art style, but some type of visual flair or something to just be like, oh no, that's Silksong, because the games do look pretty similar. But next, moving from art direction, we're gonna get into the story. Now the story is subtle like the first game, just kind of like the Dark Souls games too. It's not many really cutscenes at all. There's just usually the story is mainly explained through brief dialogue and like item descriptions and stuff like that, and environmental storytelling basically. But I also feel like this game's story is kind of generic. The story is about basically making pilgrimage to this wasted kingdom. The game called it the Citadel, where everyone has been taken over by some power to turn feral and corrupt everywhere, and basically nothing is as it was, and you gotta restore it, you gotta find out what's gone wrong, and it's really honestly just like the first game, because the first game it was you were journeying to try and fix this infection that basically destroyed everything, and you're trying to you're navigating through what once was a great kingdom, and it's just exactly like the first game, the second game. And I just wish they would have done a little bit more with it, especially coming from the Dark Souls games, which I played too, and I really love all the Dark Souls games, and From Software as a whole. They have these similar stories, and it's just, I kind of wish they just did something different. But it does, at least for me, ending up feeling pretty generic. But like I said, kind of towards the beginning, my main issues with the gameplay, the art direction, and the story, those are more so just nitpicks. So we're going to get into the gameplay now. And honestly, I feel that it's underwhelming, to be honest. The base movement is fine, with the slashing and moving around. It feels different from the first game. Enemies and bosses are also good too. Don't get me wrong. People complain about the difficulty in this game being too hard and too frustrating, but honestly, I don't have much of a problem with it. Like I said, I've played all the Dark Souls games, and I'm generally pretty happy if something's hard. As long as it feels fair and good. And I didn't really feel that way with Silksong. Everything felt the difficulty just felt fine, to be honest. I'm glad it was harder than the first game, because it's if you're going from the first game to the second game, you kind of want a harder experience, if that makes any sense. But the difficulty did feel inconsistent at times. Was going through different bosses, oh, this one's easier than the harder one I fought earlier, but it wasn't too bad, so it is what it is. But basically, I'm more curious about how they expand upon your base movement and your attacking and all that, right? Because the first game had these things called charms. You find them all around the world and equip them, and basically they give your character little passive effects that will help you just do better. Like, there'll be one effect that like increases your range of your slashing attacks. There'll be another that gives you invulnerability while you're healing your character during fights. There's different things like that, and there were so many charms, and they all did different things, and it just was a really cool system, right? You just put them on your character when you find them, and you're good to go. But with this game, now the charms are still in this game. They're divided into 3 categories: attack, navigation, and defense charms, and they work as you'd expect. And at the beginning of the game, you can just put one of each on your character. And the defense charms, you know, they're fine. The navigation charms are fine, but it's mainly the attack charms where I'm just kind of like super just confused. It's such this odd choice because they're a lot more less passive now than the first game. The first game was like, oh, you can attack longer, for example, like your slashes reach farther. But in this game, you can like summon drones to help you, for example. You can shoot a giant gear at something. You can shoot daggers. Like the attack charms are a lot more varied, a lot more interesting than the first game. But the problem is that they take this consumable energy. They take this like you find these like rocks or shards around the map by killing enemies or just finding them around, and they increase you know, when you get them, the value in your inventory increases, and basically these attack charms use those shards to work. And it's just kind of like makes it just rough, you know. I really don't like that system because, for one, they run out super fast. They really do. Like, maybe I'll have some gameplay on screen, but it will show you, like, it just runs out so fast, and to the point where I don't even want to use it. I'm like, oh no, you know, I don't. Like, for me, if I'm struggling on a boss, I'd rather beat the boss with just slashing than have to depend on some type of charm, right? That's going to run out, and then once it runs out, I'm going to struggle even more. I'd rather just not do that. And it's just, for me, it's just, even when it's a consumable, it's like I like conserving. Oh, you know, this is not a good time to use it. This is not a good time to use it. There's always going to be a better time. And I don't know, it just really I just didn't like that system, really, and it just ran out so fast. And even too, just the attack charms didn't feel like they did that much damage. I don't know about you guys, but with the ones I used, it just felt so counterintuitive to use, you know. And then and then top it off with the fact that they're consumable, and it just basically made exploring worse, because now I don't care about the charms, the defensive charms or whatever, or the navigation charms or whatever, but it's just like the way you soup yourself up and increase your attack and do better is what I'm most interested in, and I feel like they really fumbled the ball with that compared to the first game. But moving on from that, I don't want this video to be too long because I could just ramble about all this all day, but to move on to other things, the areas feel stale compared to the first game. Like, this game has 3 grassy areas. The first game had 2 grassy areas, and this one has 3 more. They didn't really feel that much different from each other, in my opinion, and it just, like, you could have made those areas literally anything. You could have made them stuff we've never even seen before in the first game, but instead they decided to make 3 grass areas, and the first game had 2, and it's just like, really? Like, it just makes it feel like a slog. Like, oh, it's not visually interesting, right? In my opinion. And the first area kind of looks like the Forgotten Crossroad. Just to give another example, like, in general, I feel like the areas are just stale and not as interesting as the first game, but just giving another example here, basically the first area of the game past the tutorial area, I think it's called the Marrow or something. It's a gray area, and it's just really reminiscent of like the Forgotten Crossroads. I know it bleeds into the second area, which I actually really like. It has like lava and stuff. But it's just like a lot of these areas just feel too reminiscent of the first game, and it just makes the game just overall feel like not much like a sequel and more of just like another Hollow Knight, if that makes any sense. It's just none of the areas really wowed me like the first game. In the first game, there was a lot more diversity, and it's like, whoa, the areas are just so much different from each other. But here it just felt very, just kind of bland, and it's just, I'm sorry to say. And that kind of just leads into another point, because a lot of aspects on this first game from Hollow Knight are in Silksong, and it just kind of like boggles my mind a little bit. Like, when you pass the tutorial area, there's like a starting village, a humble little village, and that's just like the first game. In the first game, there's a map NPC. this NPC will be humming when you get to a new area somewhere, and you'll have to find that NPC and get the map from them. And that was in the first game. It was pretty cool. And then they do the exact same thing in the second game. It's like strange. And then this game also has like this rival character that you'll encounter throughout the game that will fight you and just generally just rival you. And you have that in Silksong, and then but it was also in the first game. There's a journeying NPC that will you'll encounter as you journey throughout the land, and this NPC will just be there whenever, you know, when you get to a new area. And just like the first game, the final boss for Silksong is like, seems like it felt so much like the final boss for Hollow Knight. It's just like really disappointing for me, and it's just there's so many of these similarities that just go to make the game feel less like an original sequel and more of just like another Hollow Knight, like I mentioned. And it's just really just sad to sad for me, I guess. And I guess the final thing I want to add to under all this gameplay stuff related things is that this game just really has weak Metroidvania elements. I really like Metroidvanias and backtracking, getting new abilities, and just discovering the world and having the world unravel and get bigger and bigger as you get more abilities. But with this game, I just didn't get that feeling like with the first game. In the first game, you start off in this one area, you know, the Forgotten Crossroads, right? And it just like expands into just so much different areas that you can go to do the different abilities. One up here, one over there, one. It's like this area connects so many different areas, and you constantly have to like backtrack and find your way around, and it was really cool. But in Silksong, I legit, like, I played through this whole game. Keep in mind, I played through this whole game. I didn't just play 2 hours and then call it a day. I played through this whole game and got to the final boss. And it just low-key felt like this. You go, you know, you start here, you go all the way to the right or left, or I guess my right. You go up, left, up, right, and then that's like the end. It's like, what? It's just, there was barely like really any backtrack in my opinion. It was very obvious like where to go. And I don't know, it just like the Metroidvania aspects felt like really weak in this game compared to the first game. And that's like one of the biggest things I really like about these types of games. I love the exploration and the Metroidvania and the just like the journey that you go on this game, and it just felt really shallow. So all these things combined, you know, just kind of make for just a very underwhelming experience for me. And I don't know if any of you guys feel the same way, but that's just how I felt going into this game from the first game, having loved the first game. But yeah, I mean, that's what this game ended up being, and I'm not gonna go explore all the optional areas or do all these other optional bosses and stuff. It's like, oh, look at how much bigger this game might be. I mean, I didn't like the game, so I'm not gonna keep playing it, right? That's just my logic. I know that there's definitely areas that I haven't been to because I just beat the final boss and quit, but that's just me, you know? But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I wanted to touch on, all I wanted to go through. That's basically how I felt about Silksong, basically my review, my non-spoiler review. So I hope you appreciated it. I thank you for watching this video. If you stuck till the end, like and subscribe if you find value in this. Share it with other people. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is all my opinion. So don't take it like I'm saying it's the objective fact. It's just my experience with the game. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. More videos coming soon. Partial Hangout, signing off.